The Hawaiian Islands have become the proving grounds for the most outrageous sailboarders in the world. The combination of the trade winds, powerful waves make for ideal conditions. Hawaii is the ultimate competition arena and home of the O'Neill Invitational, the Super Bowl of wave performance.
Hello everyone, I'm David Stanfield, and this is Hukipa Beach Park, the site of the O'Neill Invitational Wave Sailing Championships. It is the largest and most prestigious event of its kind, featuring 122 competitors from 12 different countries. And the superstars of the sport are here.
Pioneers like Robbie Nash, Matt Schweitzer, and Mike Waltz. These world champions and all the sailors here set no boundaries. They consistently challenge their skills in the most demanding conditions. Hukipa Beach, the sky's the limit.
It's looking great. I mean, can't ask for much more. We've got wind, we've got waves. It's a perfect day for the beach.
It looks good. Almost every year it looks better than the last year. So there's always a whole lot of guys that are really coming on strong and looking good. So it's going to be tough.
Everybody's really looking good. So I'm just thinking positively that you know, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it to the finals and really try and do well in this contest.
Four years ago, the legendary Jack O'Neill, the wetsuit wizard, first produced the Invitational Wave Sailing Championships. His purpose was to showcase the finest athletes in the sport and to make a positive statement for the future of sailboarding. The O'Neill family did just that. Today, the O'Neill Invitational is state-of-the-art competition and has become the most prestigious event of its kind.
In windsurfing, I think this is the biggest event of the year. It's certainly the most spectacular, the wave riding. We're at the location here where we have the biggest waves and the most consistent wind for windsurf. It's a time of year we can get the top riders from all around the world. I think most all of the top wind wave riders are here today.
Just north of the sugarcane village of Paia is Hukipa Park. Hukipa is not only invaded by the world's greatest sailboarders, but this half-moon bay also attracts thousands of spectators.
Well, the windsurfing sport has tremendously helped Paia town in general and also the county of Maui. About 3 years ago, when O'Neill first brought in the first world windsurfing ship sport here, it's grown tremendously and it's continually growing.
The show is not only in the water, it's on the beach too. Spectators, photographers, and enthusiasts will sit on this beach for hours at a time, completely mesmerized by one of the most dazzling spectator sports of our decade. And what you are about to witness is our exclusive highlights of the 4th annual O'Neill Invitational.
In the name of Robbie Nash, two-time World Cup champion, defending title holder here at the O'Neill. And Robbie won his first world championship.
$10,000 is just part of the reason to compete in the O'Neill Invitational. The other reason is competition. Wave sailing is composed of 3 basic maneuvers. First, there's jumping, sailing out through the surf and getting airborne. Second, there's wave riding, similar to surfing but with the added power of the sail. Finally, transitions, sailing from one tack to another. In other words, doing a 180-degree turn. The speed and maneuverability has given thousands of sailors a go-for-it attitude in the waves.
basically the wave riding and the wave jumping and the basically aerial loops have they've been perfecting them year after year, and it looks like this year they're actually pulling off a few of the loops and the highest jumps and just the most radical styling you could imagine.
The most spectacular of the three scoring maneuvers are the jumps. Today's sailors are getting higher, flying farther, and getting more twisted in the air. Radical is the only word to describe the most difficult high-risk maneuver, the elusive 360-degree aerial loop.
The loop is extremely dangerous. I wouldn't recommend anyone going out and just trying it. It's a extremely difficult maneuver, and once you leave the wave and you're getting up 20, 30 feet in the air and looping around, it's an exhilaration and a feeling of total weightlessness, and actually you don't really have much control over what you're doing. You just let the wind carry you around, and hopefully you end up landing back on top of your board and sail away from it.
Is critical. If your timing is off, you'll go down, then possibly lose your rig, or even possibly lose your heat, and end up in the loser's bracket. But what's worse is being washed up on the reef. And no one here wants to be a star. The O'Neill Invitational consists of three classes, the men's, women's, and the masters. This year's contest started off with the masters. The masters is a nice way of saying you're over 30. Truth is, most of these guys have been around the surfing world for years. Now sailboarding is the new game in town. The masters are made up of the famous and the not so famous, like 32-year-old David Collignon and 36-year-old surf star and bonsai pipeline great Jerry Lopez. Conditions were prime time for the Masters competition. Northeast trade winds blew through Huquipa at about 25 miles per hour, with up to 14-foot wave faces bashing the North Shore. These ideal conditions made for great semifinal action that featured one of Maui's favorite local sailors.
Just right down the beach here, not more than a quarter of a mile, lives the world's fastest sailor. His name is Fred Haywood, and he owns 2 of the 5 world speed sailing records.
Quite frankly, I really think I'm living my dream right now. I live on the ocean. I got a little place where I can get out through the rocks here right behind my backyard, and I sail right up to Huquipa and do some wave sailing there, and then I do some speed runs down the coast. So to have this good of a sailing right in your own backyard, I couldn't imagine living anywhere else in the world. This is so perfect.
Standing in at 6'3" and 200 pounds, homegrown Fred Haywood hooked into the sport only 6 years ago. 4 years later, he claimed a world speed sailing record in Weymouth, England. He did a speed run that averaged 37.5 miles per hour. That's faster than most speedboats pulling a competition slalom water skier.
I learned to sail from Mike Waltz, and after I got a little proficient on my sail, I realized that in the high winds, I would beat Mike Waltz, and he was the best in the world. And I thought, my gosh, I'm just a nobody, and he would really notice it, and he says, gosh, Fred, you really have an advantage in the speed. And along with Arnaud de Ronay, they convinced me to go into the speeds in 1983 in Weymouth, where I set a world speed record of 30.82 knots.
Fred's been a champion all his life, winning the National Backstroke Swimming Championship at the age of 17, followed by a silver medal at the Pan Am Games. Now at 35, he's not just a survivor.
When I set the world speed record, I could sense I was doing it because I could feel the vibration in the bottom of the board. It's almost as if it's a musical instrument, and the harder you strum it, the more sound you make. Well, the higher the vibration I could feel on the bottom of the board, I could tell I was going fast, and I knew I was breaking the record.
Shortly after the O'Neill Invitational, Fred's world speed record was surpassed by 7 international sailors in optimum conditions in France.
I take one day at a time. That's Maui style. I live to work out that day that I'm living in, and sure, there might be some challenges ahead of going faster, riding more fun waves, or adventuring around the world chasing wind and waves. But for the time being, I just want to remain on Maui, keep sailing a lot, because I'm not sailing to go faster as much as I'm sailing to have fun. And if I can keep on fooling everybody and make a living having fun, that's the ultimate dream, I think.
In order for Fred Haywood to continue living his Maui lifestyle, he'll most likely try to recapture the overall speed title. Today, at the O'Neill Invitational, for Fred, it was a disappointing 4th place. The final matchup came down to Jerry Lopez and David Collignon.
I'm ready now. I'm going to go get him. I feel good. I feel like I'm going to win.
Collignon dazzled the judges with his downwind bottom turns and aggressive style. This combination made the winning difference for Collignon.
I won! All right! I was taking my time getting over that wave. I felt comfortable today. I was just trying to ride waves without falling. I'm not a jumper, and my wave riding, I just had to try to be consistent and see how I can get by.
Sailboarding is primarily dominated by men, but there are a few exceptions. Compared to the men, women do have certain disadvantages. The main disadvantage is the lack of upper body strength that is so important in handling high-performance sailboarding equipment. Here at Hukipa, the women's stamina and endurance are constantly being challenged by the strong trades and powerful waves.
Sometimes I made some bad mistakes and I get wiped out early in my heat and I end up swimming the whole time. But the contest, that can happen. You know, you only have 8 minutes and you either have good luck or you have bad luck. So can't let it get you down.
The women do have more advantages than meet the eye. They're lighter, which helps them plane in marginal wind conditions. And they are, of course, agile. But you know, one of their greatest assets is their competition attitude.
It's really emotional sometimes because when we first started competing in the waves and stuff, you know, it was hard to compete against friends, you know, but you just get used to it and you separate the two totally, and it makes it a lot better on you and on all your competitors. You know, we don't want to feel bad vibes against anybody, so we make the best of it. You know, it's all in fun anyway, right? Oh, it's almost.
Kelby had her work cut out for her at this year's O'Neill Invitational. Last year's overall winner was King, and she make it 2 in a row. The talented and classy Jill Boyer has been training for months for this season opener, and the consistent Debbie Brown, a top seed in any competition she enters.
3 minutes into this heat.
20 women finalists, there were some exciting and dramatic moments, like when 25-year-old Shawn O'Neill, California's #1 wave sailor, experienced firsthand the powerful surf of Hukipa. As she came through the loser's bracket, she had winning potential, but in a matter of seconds, her luck had changed for the worst.
25-year-old Shawn O'Neill was 7th on the World Cup in 1984.
5'5", 110-pound Lorraine McClay was airborne more than any other woman competitor. Lorraine came up through the bottom of the loser's bracket right through the semifinals. With her fantastic aerial control, she sailed to the top, only to be succumbed by fatigue. Fatigue that held her to a 4th place finish.
I did get tired. I was a bit overpowered, but in those kind of waves, I felt I could give it my all rather than, you know, chicken out.
Winds have now picked up to about 30, 35 miles an hour with stronger gusts. Pretty tough conditions, but the women are going to have to handle it. And the two are Kelbiana going against Debbie Brown.
No, not vicious ever. No, it's not like that. We've always, it seems to like me and Debbie are always in the finals together, you know, and so we're really good friends, and it doesn't really affect us that way. You know, it's one thing on the water, we're like trying to do our best, but it's more like you're competing against yourself.
Although Debbie and Kelby are good friends, Debbie might take winning a bit more serious.
For me, it's visualizing a few heats in a row, because I think there's a tendency to get tired after 1 or 2, and so you have to spend a lot of time visualizing yourself going through 5 or 6 heats at one time. And then you work on the feelings of winning and how great that feels, and everybody congratulating you, and also concentrating on performing your best rather than beating somebody.
In 1983, Debbie Brown won this very same event. And with her philosophy, she pictured herself winning today. And that she did.
Yeah, I gave her this nail polish.
Yeah, she did. She gave me this.
I won on this. I had this nail polish on. I did. It's the winning factor.
This is sort of like the gloves of...
It is. It's the gloves of a champion. I didn't have any on.
We'll pass on the ceremonial orange nail polish.
Never shouldn't have given the polish.
What do you get when you take the best wave sailors from 12 degrees with optimum sailing conditions, then give them the green flag? Meet the Hukipa Air Force. This is a super session, the ultimate expression session, one of the many added features at the O'Neill Invitational. It offered $500, winner take all, for the most outrageous performance. The impossible is often untried, but here they tried it all.
On the pink sail.
Without a doubt, Wetter was better. The judges awarded 17-year-old David Wetter the Super Session title as the most outrageous performer. The rapid evolution of high-performance sailing equipment has given these guys the confidence to push it to the limits. And it all started with pioneers like Matt Schweitzer.
The equipment has changed dramatically. Back then we're on, 45-pound, 12-foot long boards, which are not maneuverable, and we get some equipment changes probably once every 3 months or something new in the sport.
To keep a waves, you need more of a board like this, which is an asymmetrical tail. And the boards that we sail at Diamond Head are more symmetric boards, and I use channels for grip. Well, I gotta get out there and try out this new...
All right, good luck.
See you guys.
Bye. Thanks.
High-performance equipment carries a high price tag.
What happened, Scotty?
Oh, I fell off an aerial. The mast got caught under the board and snapped it off. That happens.
There are a special group of sailors, and they are called the loopers. They do the most spectacular thing in wave performance sailing. They do a 360-degree aerial loop off the wave. There's only about 12 of them in the world that can do it. And one of the most talented loopers there is a fellow by the name of Chris Lassett.
I've been attempting loops for about the last year and a half, and had a pretty good deal of success lately. It's an extremely difficult maneuver in that you end up breaking a lot of equipment and smashing up your boards and your sails and your body.
He's broken a side of ribs, compressed all the vertebrae in his neck, and has gone through thousands of dollars worth of equipment. If it wasn't for Chris's artistic talents, he'd be in the poorhouse.
I do have to be careful. I hope I don't get injured so I can continue my painting career, but the thrill of doing loops is so great that I can't give it up. I just want to continue with it. I think I have a great advantage over a lot of artists in that I'm out in the water all the time, and getting a first-hand experience is what's going on out there, and try and convey that through to my canvas. Can paint in the morning till about 12 o'clock, and then go sailing for the rest of the day, and then come back and paint at night. And I get a lot of inspiration from windsurfing because of the contact with the waves and the wind and the ocean, all those elements I try to incorporate into my work. So it's about the best thing I've ever gotten into, this windsurfing.
An accomplished artist of collector status, Chris's paintings sail in the 5-figure range to the likes of the Rockefellers. His work can be seen in galleries throughout the world. But it's the loop that seems to be his driving force. Loops are by far one of the toughest moves to pull off in sailboarding, and they are equally as hard to capture on film. But if you're Dan Merkel, ace motion picture cameraman, getting a loop should be a piece of cake.
I've been filming the windsurfers doing what they call a loop, where they hit a wave and they go all the way around with their board and sail. You can only do it on the right wind conditions and the right wave size, and there's only a few windsurfers in the world who can do it. So I spent 2 months just to get...
Good job.
To get the best shots, you have yourself on the line. You've got to be right out there in the impact zone, and you've got to have the windsurfers run you down. That's basically what it comes down to. And I always tell them, come close, come close. Sometimes they come a little too close, you know, and I jerk the camera back and whoa. But that's the best way to get those shots. It's just about having them run you down.
Dan's daredevil tendencies, or madness, however you may look upon it, has made him one after wet cameraman in the world.
Photographing windsurfing from the water is very dangerous, traveling in many different directions. Windsurfers riding a wave in, well, there's one coming, so I have to have eyes in the back of my head. Hitting the legs and the back, and I've hit on the head justly a couple of times.
All the shot water here at the O'Neill Invitational that bring you that extra step closer to the action are in the hands of the Merc. The Invitational's most intense event is the men's competition. Out of the 77 international competitors, only 2 will make it to the finals. Here, the battle to the top bracket is vicious. These dudes will try anything to win.
Schweitzer, 25 years old.
Son of the originator of windsurfing, Matt Schweitzer is a 16-year seasoned veteran. At the age of 25, he owns 13 world titles.
You go first. I'm not sure if it works.
I was basically the first one to sail in the waves, and last year I had a little bit of bad luck, just some stitches from the skeg, and I landed on my side and got an internal bleed, pulled my kidney and ruptured my spleen, but that's all over with. I won't do that again.
A 3-year pro, he's been wave sailing for 10 years, and he's
The East Coast of the United States is well represented by this man alone. An all-around sailing talent, Ken is the consummate professional.
The competition's too tough now. I have to live here on Maui in order to be competitive. So I'll go back to Annapolis sometime, but I have to retire here.
Up and riding winner on the yellow and orange sail. Ken with a nice re-entry.
Mike Waltz, winner of this event 2 years ago, is a 15-year veteran and is only 25, a pioneer who was to conquer Hukipa Beach.
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm always worried. There's about at least a half guys here that could take it. It just, you know, it all depends on the day. The wind, the conditions, the waves, and who's feeling best that day.
Here's Walt approaching this wave. He's on a white sail with the orange panel. The wave. Watch Walt get outrageous there.
Champion Tatsu Hoshino has 3 years of solid competition experience and is now beginning to match the moves of the hot Hawaiians, but is still in awe of the heavy hitters.
What I want to do is live in Maui and every day go out sail, not be loving us. It's too hard.
Most sailors don't know what it's like to win. For the amazing Robbie Nash, the current world champion and the defending O'Neill champion, he wins the majority of events he enters. And he's been winning ever since he captured his first world title at the age of 13. Now, 8 years later, his sailboarding magic has even bewildered judges as to what exactly he pulls off. On a bad day, he looks good.
At the moment, I'm just trying to get the whole act together. My equipment's not really working the way I'd like it to. My jumps aren't really the way I want them to be. My wave riding's not the way I'd really like them to be. I've just got to get more coordinated, you know, all around. I don't have any one problem area. It's just everything's not quite there right now because of the lack of practice. And at the moment, there's probably 10 or 15 guys, all of whom could win the contest depending how the conditions are, or if they're having a good day, bad day, if they're town or off, and so on. There are really a lot of good guys now.
Sharp with a great jump. Top popping is Robbie Nash, and Robbie Nash has got a wall of water in front of him. Side slip, snaps off the curl, maintains, and continues. On the left is Alex Aguirre. Watch Aguirre with there. Nice, clean jump. in and out, scoring some big points. Outrageous. Winner on the left side, pulls out of the way, it's Pudmore. Pudmore and Winner, both trying aerials. Both attempting some aerial 360s, it looked like.
In the semifinals, Robbie Nash sets a new precedent in competition history. Nash successfully completes the most difficult maneuver. He helicopters into a 360-degree aerial loop and sails away.
Nash pumping for air. Yes! Robbie Nash completes it! Robbie Nash completes an aerial 360 helicopter. Incredible! Nash pulls it off. He saw what he had to do because Eric Sharp is very sharp out there. Ripping it apart, and look at Alex Aguirre down the line. What a hot heat. Non-stop action here at the 1985 O'Neill. Sideways. One-handed duck jump, snaps out of the wave. Here comes Aguirre. He's got to make up. And he does. Oh, look at that. Feet apart. Perfect. A jump by Angulo. A great snapback.
Now it's single eliminations. The final matchup, 16-year-old Mark Angulo, known affectionately as Baby Goo, from the island of Oahu. He has outsailed all challengers, and now he meets the remarkable Alex Aguirre. Aguirre, originally from Florida, is yet another veteran at the young age of 23. He has dominated Hukipa's major events since October of 1984.
Here's the wave. Here comes Aguirre. Big hit!
In the men's, you're looking at Mark Angulo, Robbie Nash, or Alex Aguirre, in my opinion, to be right up on top.
My money's on Alex Aguirre this year.
I'd say the contest is going to come down to a duel between Robbie Nash and Alex Aguirre in the men's division, and Mark Angulo is going to be right in their third place, I would say.
He gets pumped up a little bit. He says, God, Alex is falling. Oh, and that is a nice aerial re-entry, side slipping, coming sideways. One-handed duck jibe, snaps out of the way. Here comes Aguirre. He's got to make up. And he does. Alex, undefeated with Hukipa. The last two events, you're going for your third in a row, the Triple Crown. How can you sail so perfect? Is local knowledge here?
I know, local knowledge helps quite a bit, especially on days like today when it's really gusty and offshore. Some of the other guys look a lot better when it's lighter wind, and then when it picks up like this, it's a little sometimes. So it is quite a bit of local knowledge.
Angulo right on the edge and making everything work for him, as Alex Aguirre, a perfectionist. Aguirre, 9th on the World Cup last year, 3rd overall in the World Cup in '83, 3rd in wave action. 23-year-old Alex Aguirre, living in Paia. It's right down the matchup of the century, Hukipa, in the men's division. Alex Aguirre, undefeated in competition so far, has got a challenger by the name of Robbie Nash, two-time World Cup champion. Robbie had to work his way up through the loser. Alex, is it a suit? How do you beat Aguirre? If anybody can today, it's going to be Nash. Nice transition to pick up that wave for Nash as Aguirre scoring more points on that wave. Look at it. Back up with Aguirre now. Here comes his snap. Snapping off the top, roller coasters down, makes it down the line one more time. Aerial off the left for Aguirre.
Robbie Nash is considered the best all-round sailor in the world. His World Cup championships attest to that. On the other hand, Alex Aguirre seems to be unbeatable. If anybody can knock off Aguirre, it's Robbie Nash.
Yeah, I kind of glance back and see what he's doing. If he does something spectacular, I try and do something too. If he keeps falling in, then you try and play a little bit more conservative. Unless it's somebody like Robbie who might pull something off ridiculous, so you have to keep going, even if he does fall.
And here comes Aguirre. Jeez! Another outrageous jump as he knows that now. One more wave. And he loops it! He loops it twice! Goes around into a double. Robbie off the top aerial rebound anywhere. Oh, beautiful! Here's some air. Long jump for Aguirre. Oh, the white breaks! Oh! He lost his nose. It goes up and over. On the outside, Alex Aguirre picking up a clean wave as a horn blast. Non-stop, heads down the line. A great wave. Nash heads out for some air. Upside down.
I was feeling pretty good. I wish I wouldn't have fallen in that one time. I had to go for a good swim. That might have cost it for me. I don't know. We'll find out here in a little bit.
When Alex fell down, I couldn't do anything. There weren't any waves, but I think you got it because your off the lips were just as good as his. Yeah, I was going straight up. If you know, it was close, but they'll probably, if they give it to you, you're gonna have to go. You got to loop. You got to try a loop again. Well, I couldn't that time. I didn't have any chance. It was close, but I think they'll give it to you.
Both Robbie and Alex were fantastic on the waves. Robbie pulled off unreal transitions, and Alex performed breathtaking aerials. When Aguirre lost his rig and went swimming, Nash really wasn't in scoring position. The judges awarded Alex Aguirre with a split decision, 5-2. Aguirre, this year's O'Neill Invitational winner.
Alex.
Thanks.
All right.
Here we go.
All right, thanks, Jack.
Oh, this is good. All right. Well, congrats.
Thanks, Rob.
Don't lose it like I did.
Toughest competition was Robbie Nash. The first. Yeah, that's the toughest one I came up against. He's like noted as the best in the world. And for a couple days there while we were stalled, I knew that if I got through against Charlie, I'd go up against him. And all I was thinking about was beating Robbie Nash for a couple days there. As soon as I got through with Charlie, I was lucky to get up there.
Sweeping high-speed turns, blasting off breaking avalanches of water, charging across hollow waves. The high-performance rigs and their pilots are seeking a vision of the future. And here at the O'Neill Invitational, you expect the unexpected.